believe we are live. Correct. Let me turn on my light. We are live. Okay. おはようございます。おはようございます。David back this week with another Japanese lesson on behalf of the Japanese Christian community Miami. So today we are actually talking about lesson 16 in our curriculum, これください。これください。Okay? これください. So now we will just go through lesson 16. Before we do, I want to go over some vocabulary. We're going to finish off all the vocabulary from this chapter. So here is the page. The word for, we're going to start with colors. The word for color in Japanese, 色. 色. Try saying it after I say it. 色. Okay, and here we have some colors. The word for blue in Japanese, you can say 青. Just 青. That means the color blue. However, if you add I at the end, 青い, 青い, that makes it an adjective. So blue something. Okay? 青い車, 青い T-shirts, right? A blue T-shirt. This is actually a long sleeve shirt, but whatever. The same goes for a bunch of other colors. So if you go to red here, 赤, 赤, 赤. That means the color red as a noun. If you add I at the end, 赤い, 赤い makes it an adjective. You could put this before something. So a red pen, 赤い pen, right? You cannot say 赤 pen. That, yeah, just stick with 赤い pen, right? Always add I if you want to make it an adjective to use before something. With orange, it's a little different. オレンジ, オレンジ, オレンジ is orange. Now, to make this an adjective, to be able to put it before a noun to describe, we don't use I with orange because it's a foreign word, so we will use no. オレンジの T-shirts, I guess this circle around it. Okay, オレンジの. The word for yellow in Japanese, 黄色. And if you want to make it an adjective, 黄色い. Okay, 黄色い, ハサミ. ハサミ. This is actually オレンジ色, but let's pretend 黄色. 黄色いハサミ, scissors. Okay. Moving along, the word for gray in Japanese. Actually, there's two words for gray. They only give us one here. グレー. Right, and that obviously comes from English. The English word for gray, グレー. And since it's a foreign word, again, we will use no to connect it to a noun. グレーのペン. グレーのホチキス. Right? Gray. There's another word that I've seen for gray. 灰色, which means ash color. You're safe with gray. Okay. How about black? The word for black, 黒. The adjective form, again, add I at the end. 黒い. Practice those Japanese R's. Da, ri, ru, re, ro. Right? Your tongue is just before your front teeth, your incisors right there. And it just taps the kind of plateau right before your teeth. Da, ri, ru, re, ro. So this would be 黒い. kuro, right? Moving on, we have white, shiro. 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 The adjective form, tack on an e. Shiroi. Shiroi. Now, some of my high school students, they like to joke around or they like to use words like this. Like they like to take, when they learned kuroi, black, and shiroi, white, they started like pointing at each other and calling each other black and white. These words cannot be used like that. Okay, if you call someone black using this word kuroi, it doesn't make sense. If you call someone white using shiroi, it doesn't make sense in Japanese. Japanese people will look at you like, why are you calling him the color black? Why are you calling them the color white? It doesn't make sense. There are words in Japanese to describe skin color, like a Caucasian white skin color or an African, a kind of darker skin color, but we are not talking about those today. We are talking strictly just colors. Kuro, shiro, black, white. The color for brown. Chairo, chairo. And actually, this cha part comes from the word for tea. So you're really saying it's tea-colored. Chairo. Okay? Again, if you want to make it an adjective, tack on the e. Chairoi. 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 Okay, so a brown-colored thing, whatever that would be. The color for pink. 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 That's an easy one. Pink. Again, a foreign word takes no. So if you want to connect pink something, you have to say pink no thing. Okay? Pink no skato, right? If you're talking about a skirt, a pink skirt, pink no skato. My favorite color, green. Midori. Midori. Green. Midori. This is an interesting one. You would think, because this word is not taken from English, and I don't think it's taken from any language. I think it's native to Japan. Midori, however, does not use an e to connect it to other nouns. When you use it as an adjective, it doesn't take an e at the end. It takes no. Midori no. Midori no wani. A green alligator, right? Midori. Midori. I think this is because, and I could be wrong, right? This is just my thought on this. The color green actually, for a long time in Japanese history, did not really exist, I guess you could say. Japanese people would look at green as a different shade of blue. It was just a different hue of blue. So many Japanese people back then, and even today, will still look at green and sometimes call it the word for blue, aoi. Aoi, right? Here's blue up here. If you ever, for example, are at a red light, stoplight in Japan, and someone behind you starts honking and says, hey, the stoplight changed color. It is now aoi. It's ao dayo. It's blue. Even though the color is green, they will still say it's blue. Same with apples, green apples in Japan, you call them aoi. You call them blue. Technically, green is a hue of blue. It is a shade of blue. So I'm thinking, historically, this word does not take e. I'm thinking this word somehow was introduced. Maybe introduced is the wrong word. Maybe used, it was put into use much later, and therefore does not really follow conventional grammar, I guess you could say, for certain descriptive words. Anyways, that was a whole aside. Just remember, green, the word for green, midori. And if you want to connect it, use no. Midori no wani. Okay? Let's move on. The word for gold. This is an interesting one. Kiniro. Kiniro. Kin. Iro. Kin means actual gold, the metal gold. iro is color. So the color of the metal, gold. Kiniro, gold color. Same thing with silver. Giniro, giniro. There's one slight sound difference, right? Kiniro, it's a hard K. Kiniro is gold. Giniro is silver. Okay? And again, this one uses the word no. Giniro no. Kiniro no. All right? Yes, and the word gin, I guess means silver in Japanese. The word for a light blue or like a baby blue or a sky blue is mizuiro. 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 This mizu, if you know the word for water in Japanese, this is the word for water. Water is mizu. So attaching the word color onto it gives you a light blue color, or I guess you could say a water, color of water, mizuiro. And you need, again, no. You need no to connect it to a noun. So a light blue shirt, mizuiro no t-shirts, right? So here are all of our colors. If you missed any, if you came in late, that's fine. You could always go back in this video and watch it later. Let's talk sizes. Size. The word for a size, like a clothing size in Japanese, size. Size. Okay? Try saying the words of this. You know what? I should really write that down too. Try sounding out each word. Oh, as I say them. Okay, yeah. So let's talk sizes. In Japanese, it's really easy when we're talking about clothing sizes because they use a kind of English lettering system. L. L stands for L or large size. This is the large size. M stands for medium size. M, right? This is the English M. And finally, I guess you would understand S. S. This stands for S, which means small size. So we have large, medium, small. L, M, S. Okay. This also works for when you're ordering food at a fast food restaurant and they say, what size do you want? You could say, L お願いします. Oh, a large, please, right? コーラのサイズは? How about the size of your cola, your Coca-Cola? M でお願いします. M. I'll have a medium, right? So these work for clothing and for portion sizes at fast food restaurants. And finally, let's talk a little bit about pricing or shopping. 買い物, 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 right? Shopping, that's the word for shopping. In Japanese, we do not use dollars. We use yen. In Japanese, you say en. 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 Okay? The word for money in Japanese is okane. 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 If something is free, like there's no charge, it's free, you say 無料. 無料. An optional way to pronounce it pitch-wise would be 無料. 無料. So instead of 無料 going up, you could start it high. 無料. All right. There's either way is fine with this word. There's actually another word that means free. This one right below it. Tada. Tada. Tada desu. It's free. Okay. Either one is fine. I have found that 無料 seems a little more, I guess you could say, official, a little more formal. You will see this typically on price tags or, websites if you're selling something. Tada can be, I guess, more spoken, more casual. 無料 uses kanji, right? I don't know if tada it probably has kanji, but 無料 is always uses kanji. So that makes it feel a little more official. The word for a card, as in a credit card or a debit card, some kind of bank card, is カード。カード。You could also say クレジットカード or デビットカード. All right. I use this word a lot in Japan when, especially Tokyo, places that take credit cards often. カードで大丈夫ですか is paying with a card okay? I would say in a taxi or something. If you have to give your signature or if you have to sign something, you will say サインをします。サインをします。The をします means to do that, to sign. Whereas the word sign by itself means signature, just signature. Okay? If you want change from a transaction, from money change, that would be お釣り。お釣り。お釣り。That would be your coins, your little change. The word for receipt, there's actually another word for receipt as well, but this is fine. レシート。レシート。レシート。I love Japan because at pretty much every convenience store, when you are paying at the register, they will, of course, ask you for a レシート, or they will just give it to you. Often, however, there will be a little box kind of in front of the counter, sometimes on the counter to the side. That box is there to dispose your receipt, for the disposal of your receipt. So you just, if you're handed your receipt or you realize you don't want it, just put it in that little receipt box. Everyone does it. It's fine. I wish we had that in America because I have to hold on to my receipt, and then I have so many reshito in my car, it's not even funny. All right, let's move on. The word for a department or a sales floor or sales area, 売り場. 売り場. Okay, this 売り part comes from the verb to sell. 売る. Ba means a space. Okay, a space for or a location for selling. 売り場. Okay. If you are a customer, you are a お客さん. お客さん or just 客. 客. お客さん is more polite. This is more formal. You will be called お客さん by 店員 right here. 店員, a shop assistant or a clerk, right? This is like a store clerk or something. 店員. This word is kind of challenging, I think, for some foreigners to pronounce. It is spelled ten-in. However, in Japanese, many times I have noticed that when you have a single and then a vowel like I, you don't really close your mouth. You don't really close off the back of your mouth when you say Ten is how I say. It's like a Y sound. It kind of morphs into a Y sound. Ten. Ten. So we have お客さん, the customer. 店員, the store clerk, the shop assistant. Okay. Here's a good phrase. いくらですか? いくらですか? How much is it? How much money does it cost? いくらですか? Okay. This is a good phrase that we will look at today in the lesson. Could I have whatever? Could I have this, right? You would put whatever you want first, and then おください. おください. ください means like please give me. Please give me this, right? The お marks the thing that you want. So if I want a pen, please give me a pen. ペンをください. ペンをください. ありがとうございます. Right? If you want to say, I want something, you will use this phrase. something が欲しいです。欲しいです。Now here they translate it to I'd like, which don't be confused. This does not mean I like something. This means I'd like to have it. I want it. I really do not like this translation that they wrote. Please try to memorize が欲しいです as want. I want this. I want a pen. ペンが欲しいです. I want a pen. Okay. If you are going shopping or if you are doing some shopping, you will say 買い物をします。買い物をします. Right? We said earlier, 買い物 means shopping, the noun for shopping. します means to do. So to do some shopping, to do shopping. 買い物を, you can add o if you want. 買い物をします. 買い物します. Either way. The verb for buy in Japanese, to buy something, 買います. 買います. And the thing you are buying, you should mark with o. If I'm buying this pen, ペンを買います. I will buy a pen. ペンを買います. Okay? And to pay with some cash, to pay with cash, to pay. 払います. 払います. 今払います. I will pay now. 払います. Okay? Often you will hear this word at like the end of a meal at a restaurant. Everyone or someone will say, like, 今払います. Oh, I'm gonna pay for myself now, right? Let's pay. 払いましょう or something like that, right? 払います to pay. Okay, and that is all the vocabulary, the extra vocabulary for this chapter, section 8. So why don't we now move on to the lesson, lesson 16. We will start this today. I don't think we will finish it, but we'll try to get as far as we can. Okay, the lesson title, this section title is これください. Try saying it after I say it. これください. Which means what? これ is the word for this thing. And we just talked about ください, right? ください means please give me. Please give it to me. Please give me. これください means please give me this. It might sound a little forward in English, but it is perfectly okay in Japanese to say これください to a 店員, to a store clerk or a store worker, right? If you are going shopping, you could just say これください. Please give me that. But we are gonna quickly explore some things. Most of these you have seen already. Let me do a 2-page spread here, and my camera is gonna go away. Oh, nope, it doesn't have to. Never mind. I hope you guys can see this. Here's a 2-page spread. We have some options. I'm about to show you, we're about to do an activity. I'm going to show you some of the options here. So the first picture A, we have a lady and there's a bag. She's holding a bag. So I don't know if you remember this. We did this vocab last week. The word for bag in Japanese, do you remember? There's actually 2 words for this. You could say bagu, like a purse or a bag. Or you could say kaban, right? This is also the meaning of a bag or some kind of knapsack. B, this woman, it's circling her pants. And in Japanese, I gave you the word zubon. And on here, let me see. On here, I believe they want you to use the word. What do they want you to use? Pants. Okay. Pants. So yes, they actually did it for us. Number 1 is B, right? Pants. You can use pantsu for pants. However, again, I said this last week, usually it means underwear. So I do not recommend memorizing pants with pants in English. Usually it means underwear in Japanese. So this activity is bad. Whatever. C. What about C? This we are circling. What would you consider that? A blouse? Some kind of shirt? Maybe? I don't think we would call it a shirt. Maybe well, you'll see in a second. One piece, maybe one piece. D, these are shoes. Do you remember the word for shoes in Japanese? E, that I guess this would be considered a shirt. Yeah. F, what would F be? Maybe we would call that a coat, right? A coat. How about G over here? That would be a jacket. Do you remember all these words in Japanese? We did them last week. H, this woman is wearing a skirt. It's talking about her skirt. I, picture I, we have a bunch of jeans. What is the word for jeans in Japanese? And finally, J. J, these are socks. And they have little like crevices, that's a weird word. Okay. They have little spaces, I guess, for your toes. That's interesting. So let's go to now the first activity. The first activity, I guess we're just going to do some matching, but I'm going to play the audio. So I hope you can hear this. If you are following this activity right now, maybe go ahead, get out a notebook and write down the numbers 1 through 10, and now try to associate what letter, what picture goes with which option. I'm going to play the audio. And you know what really helps too? This is extra speaking practice and listening practice. You can listen to the audio and say it right after they say it. So let's try it.
1、あのパンツかっこいい。2、あのジーンズ欲しいな。3、あのコートいいな。4、あのスカートかわいい。5、あのワンピースいいな。6、あのシャツいいな。7、あのジャケット素敵。8、ああ、かわいいバッグ。9、あの靴きれい。10、あの靴下面白い。
All right. Okay, so maybe I should go through each of these answers. We did B, pantsu, pantsu. B is pants. 2, jeans. I would put I, right? Over here we have a bunch of jeans. 3, koto. Koto. F kana. F, I would say, koto. 4 is skato. That would be H, right? That's clear. Skirt. 5, one piece, I guess is C. This woman has a one piece. It goes, I guess, all the way down. 6, shatsu. Shatsu is E, right? That means shirt. 7, jacketto. Jacketto, this person is wearing a jacketto. Yeah, G. G over here. 8, 8, bag. Bag is A, right? This woman's bag. 9, kutsu. Kutsu, remember, is shoes. So that would be D. You would put D for number 9. And number 10, kutsushita. Kutsushita is socks. So that would be J. Okay? I hope we were able to remember all of these words from last week. The woman also said, and here, let me go back to one page. The woman also, when she was stating each of these things, was commenting. She was commenting on them. Some of the words that she was saying we heard last week, like omoshiroi, right? Omoshiroi means like interesting or a funny thing. Here we have some other ones. Wa takai. Try saying this. Wa takai. This wa is kind of an exclamation. It's an expression. You are looking at something and you're kind of amazed. Wa, wa, wa. Okay? Takai. Remember, takai means tall, but it can also mean expensive. Wow. So she's saying, wow, that's expensive. Wa, takai, takai. Or if you're looking at a really tall building, yeah, you could also say, wa, takai. Wow, that's tall, right? And then below that, we have ma ma kana. Ma ma kana. Ma ma means more or less, so so. It's so so. Ma ma kana kana. Kana is really like you're thinking about it. Ma ma kana. Maybe it's so so. You could be talking about price, right? Oh, that price is it's all right. Or the quality, right? Oh, that bag quality, mama kana. It's the one below that. Ina, ina. Okay. Don't be confused. The English here, it looks like an L-I. That is a capital I. So it should be E. Ina. Ina. This E means good or nice. The na kind of feels a little envious or covetous. I don't know. Like ina, oh, that's so nice. I want that. That kind of feeling is all packed into ina. Oh, that's nice. I want it, right? Maybe you can't afford it, but you think it's nice and you want it. Ina, right? All of that is wrapped up in that 3-syllable phrase. Ina. It's funny. Oh, let's go over to the right here. Hoshi na. Again with na. Hoshi na. Hoshi. Earlier we looked at hoshi, which means want. Oh, I want it. And again, that kind of nuance of, oh, maybe I can't get it, but I want it. That is na. Hoshi na. I want it. I want it, but I can't get it. 欲しいな. Yeah. 安い. 安い. Normally, this word is 安い, which means cheap, inexpensive, not pricey, right? 安い. And here they're elongating. 安い. 安い. This is a common thing to do in Japanese when you are being dramatic or you are really trying to be dramatic, honestly, when you're emphasizing something. Yasui. You take the normal word, yasui, and you elongate it, just drag it out. Yasui. Right? It means like, whoa, that's really cheap. Wow, that's so inexpensive, right? Kawaii. We looked at this word. Kawaii. It means cute. Typically used by females. Kawaii. Kakkoi. Kakkoi. We looked at this word too before. Kakkoi means like cool. Typically referring to like guy stuff, and guys will use this often. Kakkoi. Cool. Okay. Let us try. I don't know if we can do 41. Let's see what that looks like. If you go to a1.marugotoweb.jp, this is the website. Whoa, I have it way zoomed in. Let me go to the normal size. If you go to this website, this is our curriculum class website. Go all the way over until you hit topic 8. Let's try can do 41. See if we can do this week. Yeah, looks like we can do this. So I'm going to zoom in again, and we're going to watch a video and practice. Oh, too much. There we go. Oh, you know what? I'm going to full screen it. That way I can. There we go. All right. Let's watch.
れいいですね。どうですか？
欲しいな。高いですね。Yeah, so let's break this one down. There's a few things to note here. One more time. I suggest you try the shirt. What do you think of it?
あ、これいいです。
あ、これいいですね. So the is just Same in English. Right? これ this thing, right? これ this thing. いい means good or nice. And they translate it to looks good. ですね. ですね. This is kind of like a friendly ねですね. これいいですね. Oh, this is nice, right? Okay. So we look at it for a while. Okay, this is what I want to talk about. Look at the shirt. Can you see the price? Can you see the price on the shirt? You will note two numbers here. You will note the bottom number. The bottom number is the price for the item before tax. And then the top number is what you will pay at the register with tax. Okay, these characters here literally mean tax included. 4,200 yen, right? Do you think that is a lot of money? Do you know how much that is in dollars? One very quick way of estimating how much dollars this would be is to just chop off the two right digits. Just take off the two right digits. It's about $42. And that is a rough approximation. About 42 American dollars. That's expensive. For me, that's expensive. And you will notice in Japan, shopping is expensive, especially if you are shopping in Tokyo at a luxurious, maybe rich, of course, luxurious rich places are expensive, but really anywhere in Tokyo, it's going to be expensive, particularly for new items. 4200 yen, 高いですね. That's expensive.
どうですか？
どうですか? I think we've learned this phrase in the past. どうですか literally means how is it? In other words, what do you think of it? How do you feel about it? This is a good phrase to memorize. どうですか? Okay, we have some option choices here. We could say, かわいいですね. Now, if I was a girl, maybe yes, I would say that. Or I could say, 欲しいな. 欲しいな. Oh, I really want that. But there's also the feeling that, oh, maybe I can't afford it right now, you know. And then there's 高いですね. 高いですね. Remember? 高い, expensive ですね. Oh yeah, it's this thing, right? 高いですね. Yeah, and what I would do if I was with in this situation, I would say like 高いですね with my hand on my neck. This is a common like kind of opposite reaction. Opposite reaction. 高いですね. Yeah, in other words, I can't afford it. I'm not going to buy it, right? 高いですね. And that's the only let's try for this lesson. So let's go back. Let us move on. We have an activity here, a listening activity. How much are they? Let me put this back. Oh my. Sorry, I'm working with two desktops right now, and I'm trying to get this one back on my second one. There we go. Okay. Sorry about that. いくらですか? How much? How much is it? How much are they? So actually we have a bunch of stuff here. We have スカート、T シャツ、again, スカート、what is this? Blouse, a blouse, maybe? I don't know what you would call it. 靴下, socks. コート, a coat. Again, 靴下, socks. Again, コート, this is a coat. And then 靴, we have two different shoes. So what I'm guessing they're going to do, yes, there's two of everything, right? So they're going to tell you one clothing item and they're going to throw out a price. Now, this is where we have to get our Japanese numbers right. If you don't know your Japanese numbers, don't worry. I will quickly do this activity with you and break down what numbers are being said. Let us now try number 1. It's loading.
1、鈴木さん、このスカート安いですよ。いくらですか？ 1900 円です。1900円。安いですね。
Okay, so they did number 1 for you, right? They were talking about F. You heard the word スカート. This is a skirt, right? Oh, this skirt is, and they said 安い. That should be your first clue. Which one is cheaper? Skirt F. Let's try it one more time.
1、鈴木さん、このスカート安いですよ。いくらですか？
いくらですか? いくらですか? That's our phrase, right? How much? How much is it? Now she's about to say 1900円です. 1000 is the word for 1000. Okay? 9 is 9. 100 is 100. So this is literally 900. When you put them together, 1900, it means 1900 or 1900. And then N, of course, means yen. So let's listen for that.
1900円です。1900円。安いですね。
Number 2.
2、カーラさん、見てこのシャツ。いくらですか？ 1 枚1000円です。1000円。欲しいな。
One more time.
2、カーラさん、見てこのシャツ。いくらですか？ 1 枚1000円です。1000円。欲しいな。
Okay, you'll notice she said T-shirts, so either B or G for number 2. She said 1枚1000円. 1枚1000円. 1枚 means one. Actually, we learned this earlier, right? In a previous lesson. 1枚 means one flat object, or one sheet, I guess you could say. You use this counter for clothing. So for t-shirts, 1枚. So one t-shirt, 1000円. Again, 1000 means 1000 and means yen. So for number 2, please write G. This is option choice G. Number 3.
3、鈴木さん、このコート、高い。いくらですか？ 5万円。へえ、5万円は高い。でもかっこいい。
Okay. Let me give you one number here. Go is 5. Man is 10,000. So go is 5. Man, 10,000. Goman means 50,000 in that case. Also, listen for what we're talking about. We're talking about koto, right? A coat. So which coat are we talking about? Let's listen one more time.
3、鈴木さん、このコート、高い。 いくらですか ?5 万円。へえ、5万円は高い。でもかっこいい。
でもかっこいい but it's so cool, right? So yes, we are talking about option choice D, the 5万円, the 50,000 yen coat. 50,000, yeah, 50,000 yen coat. This is, again, chop off the two last digits. This is about $500. This is a $500 kakoi cool coat. So D for number 3. Number 4.
4. カーラさん、この靴どうですかいくらですか ?2900 円です。へえ、いいですね。2900円。
All right, one word here, ni means 2. Okay, sen, 1,000. Ni sen, 2,000. Okay, she also said 900, I think, 900, so 2,900 yen. Let's listen one more time. She said kutsu, right? Kutsu, shoes. We're talking about either E or J here.
4. カーラさん、この靴どうですかいくらですか ?2900 円です。へえ、いいですね。2900円。
Okay, so she repeated it for us at the end. 2,900 yen. Yeah, 2,000, so 2,900 yen. En is 900 yen. So E, please write E for number 4. And finally, 5, I guess we're talking about socks now. Kutsushita. Let's listen.
5. 鈴木さん、見て。この靴下500円ですよ。500円か。まあまあですね。
Okay, you'll notice she said, again, oh, I deleted it. Go, remember, is 5. Hyaku, remember, is 100. So go hyaku, 500. Which one would that be? Let's listen again.
5. 鈴木さん、見て。この靴下500円ですよ。500円か。まあまあですね。
500円か。まあまあですね. She said, まあまあですね. Oh, that's all right. That's not expensive, not cheap. It's all right. 500円. So H, right? Option 5 is H. How did you do? Could you tell which item they were talking about? Could you listen to the numbers and figure out what numbers they were saying? If not, I highly recommend go learn your Japanese numbers. At least do 1 through 10 this week. Do 1 through 10 this week. Do 10 through 99 the next week. Do 100 to 999 the next week, etc., etc. They're not hard. There's plenty of YouTube videos on these things. Let us, we don't have much time, but I'm going to move on to section 2. Section 2. 他の色ありますか? 他の色ありますか? Oh, actually, before, I'm so sorry. Before I do, let's see what Can Do 42 looks like. So sorry. Can Do 42. Okay. It says you are shopping. How much are these things? And you will see signs like this all over Japan. You've got poinsettia plants. Here's the sign. Can you see the price? You've got some vegetables here. Here's the sign. Can you see the price? Let me click the answer. So over here we have 780 yen. 7. I'll write these for you as well. 7 equals 7. Again, 100 means 100. We've seen this before. 700, 700. 8 means 8. And 10 means 10. So 80, Okay? 780 yen. 780 yen. That's about $7.80. Okay? Not bad for one poinsettia, I guess. I don't buy poinsettias, so I don't know if that's a fair price or not. And then over here for number 2, 100 again. 100 just means 100. 30. All right, 3. 3 means 3. So 30 means 30. This is about $1.30 per head of whatever that is. I don't know. Lettuce? Sure. Hakusai. Let's go to another one. We have a vending machine and we have a shirt. Okay. Can you see the prices in Japanese? Do you know how much that is approximately in dollars? Let's break it down. So over here on the left is a vending machine price tag with the button that you can push on the vending machine. 100, again, 100 means 100. 100 is 100. Ni, again, means 2. And ju, again, means 10. So if you say 120 yen, that's going to be 120 yen, or about $1.20 in American dollars. We have now the shirt, the infamous shirt that we just saw in the video prior. 4000. 4 is 4. Again, sen means 1,000, so 4,000, right? 4000, 4,000. Ni again means 2, and hyaku is 100, so ni hyaku, 200. 4200, and it's 4,200 yen, or about $42. Okay. How about this? We have a video. Let me play this. Found a nice shirt. How much? So this is pretty much the same video as before. How do you say that in Japanese? The price? 4200 yen. Right? We've covered this before. 4200 yen. All right, I hope we're comfortable with prices and price tags in Japanese. And numbers. You got to be comfortable with numbers in Japanese. All right, let's move on again to section 2. We'll probably start this section as a preview for next week. Next week we will finish section 2. 他の色ありますか? Try saying this. 他の色ありますか? 他 means 他の means like another or other, right? 色 color. So another color ありますか? This is a question, right? It ends in ka. あります. あります is the verb to have. So this is asking, do you have another color? Do you have another color? 他の色ありますか? Right? We talked about colors earlier today at the start of this lecture. Is there 2? There is 2. We're just going to look at this side. Okay. Let's do this dialogue in preparation for next week. Look at the left here. S size. S size ありますか? Remember, S means the small size. And they added size. That's fine. You could say that. The S size, ありますか? Remember, ありますか asks, do you have this? Do you have the small size? And we have some options here. If you look at the right, at the top, they don't have this. すみません。ありません. Try saying that. すみません。ありません. Okay? Remember, すみません. I'm so sorry. ありません. We don't have. This is negative. I don't have this. We don't have that. Okay? すみません。ありません. When someone asks me for money, すみません。ありません. Okay? The bottom here is a positive statement. はい。S サイズはこれです。 S サイズはこれです。Okay? はい。Remember, はい means yes. It means yes. はい。S サイズは So as for the smaller size, これです。これ This thing, です It is. So here it is. Here's the small size. And they're probably, giving it to the customer. They're probably showing it to the customer while saying this. はい、S サイズはこれです。Right? We could continue questioning the poor store clerk. もっと安いのありますか？もっと安いのありますか？Okay, もっと in this case means more, a more what? 安い, cheap. So a cheaper, I guess you could say cheaper. This no at the end, when you see no after an adjective like this, it means one, the cheaper one, okay? Or a cheaper one. ありますか? Do you have? Do you have a cheaper one? もっと安いのありますか? And again, I encourage you to write down these phrases in English if you feel like you will forget what they mean later, okay? もっと安いのありますか? And we have a positive sentence here. はい。これは1900円です。Yes. This one, so これは1900円です is 1900 yen. Maybe it's cheaper. And then I will finish up with these last two sentences here. 他の色ありますか? Again, this is our section key sentence here. Do you have another color? 他の色ありますか? Do you have another color? And the response is はい、赤と青があります。はい、赤と青があります。Interestingly, they don't write the Japanese word. They actually just put in a color square. That's interesting. はい、赤と青. So yes, 赤, red. To means and, right? You're listing things. And 青, blue. 赤と青, red and blue. があります means I have. があります. I have a red and a blue. So this is just a standard, store conversation between お客さん, a customer, and 店員, a store employee. All right, so we did a lot today. I hope you guys learned a lot. I hope you can remember all of this. I don't know if you'll be able to remember all of this. Make flashcards, okay? Take notes. Write things down because you will forget, especially if you are not using it. And I encourage you to use it. There are plenty of apps out there. Google language learning, social apps or whatever. One good one that I use sometimes is called Hello Talk. I believe that's what it's called. Hello Talk. Highly recommend that one. Duolingo has an interesting community. Another language learning app that I recommend always is Lingo Deer. It's also free like Duolingo with some paid content. So those are this week's recommendations. We finished this lesson. I love you guys. I miss you. And hopefully we will be able to see each other soon before I leave. As of right now, no one is allowed to enter Japan from the United States until at least the end of May, at least. And that date will probably be extended. So keep me in your prayers. I was supposed to leave in June. We will see what happens. Either way, love you.